Dúspara cam chorla bóil an fáilte chu rah an buisiid a fógrail ané, ní chur chuige im scéilte atá I gceist an múisiid seo. Tá an múisiid seo ag ddíriú orthú siúd is mó a bhualadh le cíirithe agus méadaithe ar cháin roimhe seo. Ar nós Gardaí, Altrií, Seirbhísí, Tuislíne agus Teaghlaigh ar an comisial nó ar bhean income. Bhí na duine sin ag críoláir an tearnamh agus bualadh ag cálcéad mar gheall ar sin. Tá sé ríthabhachta go mbeidh siad tarbha as an tearnamh anois agus go mbeidh an tarbha sin le feiceáil acu ina bpácaí féin. In total, my department will have almost 42 million to spend on the Irish language, the Gaeltacht and the islands in 2015. In addition to this amount, a further 13.44 million will be provided to Forest Changa, the north-south language body that operates under the auspices of my department and the Department of Culture, Arts and Leisure in the north. These are indicative figures, subject to the estimates being approved and subject to the agreement of the NSMC in the case of Forest Changa. Overall, I welcome the fact that the amount being allocated to these subheads remain largely unchanged from last year. In fact, in some cases, such as the 20-year strategy and the Office of Commissioner Changa, additional monies are being provided. This is particularly welcome when we consider the tight budgetary framework within which all departments are required to operate in order to fulfil the government's commitment to continued economic growth through fiscal prudence. I welcome the increased allocation will enable my department to continue with various measures aimed at supporting the language planning process on the ground. This includes support for community organisations to assist them in preparing and implementing language plans under the Gaeltacht Act 2012. A number of other innovative projects will also be supported, particularly in the language technology sector. It is also important to note that while there has been a specific budget line for strategy since last year, most of the expenditure in subhead C and D of the department's vote is related to the implementation of the strategy in one way or another. Cumhaith lei sin an aileanta sonracht an strateis chur an fáilte roimh an leathaltacht de 6.1 milliún do scéimeann na tacaíochta Gaeltachta mar rinne agus 3.6 milliún do scéimeann na tacaíochta Gaeilge mar run taobh amuigh den Gaeltacht. Ligí na haileanta seo dom leanann ag cosisiún na seirbhísí túislínis na réimse seo ar nós na Teaghlaigh a chur an lostín ar fáil don na scoláirí a bhíonn ag freastal ar cholaistí Gaeilge sa Gaeltacht. I am also delighted to announce that a sum of 5.9 million will be available again in 2015 for transport services to the islands. This will enable my department to continue to fund the provision of essential services and transport services to the offshore islands. Major leis an aileantas capital a bheith le cathu ag mar rin ag gabhílas a chuig déag be 1.42 milliún le cathu ar aisin a pobal agus teangas a Gaeltacht. Ba aileantas de 6 daithid agus cathu míle le cathu ar chomhdháil infrastructure ar na Highland. With regard to the agencies which come under my department, I believe that they will have adequate provision in 2015 to enable them to continue to carry out their statutory functions. In relation to Udras na Gaeltachta, a current allocation of 11.798 million will be available to the Udras from the Exchequer in 2015, in addition to their own sources of funding. Out of the current allocation from the Exchequer, 8.798 million will be available to the Udras for its administration budget and 3 million for its current budget, from which their language-based activities and organisations in the Gaeltacht are funded. Bei aileantas capital de 2.687 milliún ar fáil ag Udras na Gaeltachta an stát chiste in gá míle a chuig déag, mar aon le funse muoinethe in Udras faoin a dhéal, sochánaí agus investíochta. Idir aileantas an stát chiste agus achchunaí an Udras féin, tá mé cinse go mé an Udras ag leanann seothú ag cruthú post nuas a Gaeltacht agus ag cosisiún na básta tá faoi láthair. A budget of 13.444 million will be available in 2015 for Forest Changa, subject to agreement by the NSMC. This is a modest reduction of just 1% on the amount allocated in 2014. Bei aileantas de 6 míle chur ar fáil d'oifigid an Commissioner Changa, tá léirí is é an méadú de 83 míle ná 5 faoin cuaig jéig fin géad Allantas na blinta gavilas a cahar jéig Homantas and Realtas a chinsiú go leanfaí an áfik sin ag cor aimana ractala I greatly len gavilas a cuaig jéig. Finally, I believe that the government's commitment to the Irish language, the Gaeltacht in the islands, is clearly evident in the allocation proposed for my department in 2015. This provision means that my department is in a position to continue to prioritise the implementation of the 20-year strategy, as well as providing support to the Irish language, Ulster Scots, Gaeltacht and the island communities, through the wide range of activities funded by my department and by the agencies of my department. But while mar a fásta go, agus leanaí me sé orm ag deanú cas láidir dachhainní breislis na seachtainní amach roin lena cinsú go mbeadh na hurlasaí a lig fáilig an run seo chun an obair atá ar siúil chana héan a chiomhnú agus chun forbairtí eile a chur ar bon amach an seo. Tá deisina ar dóid ag teach chun cins a Gaeltacht agus tá sé le feiceáil go soláir go bhfuil an cumas an pois a chrúthú. Tá me tiomanta go thomlan ar gláir obair a bhrú chun cin I nál le tábhaid agus ábhartacht na Gaeilge a méadú agus duine a spréagú idir rág agus éiste chun an teanga a úsáid. Go raibh maith.